poor starts by United this season against Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Tottenham and even Chelsea turned out to be only the platform from which spectacular comeback wins would be recorded. But Mourinho couldn't coax another out of his side in Saturday's showpiece, as his decision to focus more on stopping Chelsea than unleashing his own players left United chasing shadows for the majority of the first half. There was little cohesion about their play, and by the time they released the shackles somewhat after halftime, they had given Chelsea all the head start they needed to see out the game. Like so often this season, United were far too slow out of the blocks. With Ander Herrera given the job of following Eden Hazard wherever he went, Chelsea made the most of the space the Spaniard left behind by making easy yardage in midfield. The Reds had little to offer in attack either. In the absence of their totem striker Romelu Lukaku, they had nobody who feels at home with their back to goal, and the lack of threat from the right of midfield with Herrera deployed deep meant that more of Chelsea's defensive stocks were free to close off spaces for Paul Pogba and Alexis Sanchez to run into. It was on a rare occasion that Hazard had shaken off Herrera that Chelsea created the only goal of the game. The Belgian's touch past Phil Jones left the England defender for dead, and when Jones attempted to recover with a clumsy last-ditch tackle, he was banged to rights. Hazard got up and planted home the penalty, and even though the best part of 70 minutes remained, it already felt like the killer blow had been landed. Jones, meanwhile, had added to his growing collection of memes with his inept attempt to make up for his initial poor defending. His selection had many United fans scratching their heads from the start, and this intervention only intensified the derision at Mourinho's decision not to start Eric Bailly in his stead. United continued to be restrained by their own shape throughout the remainder of the first half, with their only real chance coming seconds before the break when Pogba finally broke into some space and Sanchez's ball into the center eventually found Marcus Rashford. This was not to be the young England striker's afternoon, though, as he scuffed the opportunity and Chelsea cleared. The lack of Lukaku, fit enough only to play a part in the last 20 minutes due to the ankle injury he suffered against Arsenal in April, was undoubtedly a blow. But United seemed to be set up with complete disregard for the attributes on display in red shirts. Rashford can't be Lukaku, and with Jesse Lingard playing as a point in the midfield diamond rather than higher up, he found it harder to pick out the space between the lines in which he usually revels. After the break they were more positive, but with Chelsea sitting deep they needed to make more of the few chances they were going to get. Pogba missed the most glorious of all, failing to find the target from 10 yards out when completed unmarked in the dying embers. Ultimately, though, Manchester United's defeat could be traced back to how Mourinho set up his side as the Portuguese suffered defeat to his bitter rival Antonio Conte.